Hello and welcome, everyone. Faisal here. In this video, I'll show you how to properly design a brochure consisting of 8 pages for pages or any even number of pages using Adobe InDesign. To start, this is the Adobe InDesign CC program and its interface. We'll begin with a detailed explanation for beginners, even if you haven't used InDesign before. With this video, you'll be able to learn the right way to use Adobe InDesign. To start, we have Create New, or you can use the shortcut Command plus N or Control plus N on Windows devices. Click on Create New. A box or the New Document window will pop up, which is what you're seeing right now. First, you have the file name. Then you have the size of the document, or actually, the size of the pages. And here you can choose between centimeters, millimeters, or pixels. Of course, we use centimeters or millimeters because we're working with print. Let's name it here. Anything you want, you can name it. Let's stay here. We can name it anything you want. Let's name it now just for explanation purposes. A4. Great. As we mentioned, the size is A4 21 centimeters by 29.7, which is the standard A4 size. The most important thing here is the number of pages for the brochure we'll work on. I have 16 pages here. I was working on something old, so let's say we'll make it 8 pages. Here, this start is for the page numbering. It can start from the first page or the second page. We'll get to that and talk about it later. Here, facing pages means 2 pages side by side, which makes it easier for you to work. Meaning, it opens the document as if you're holding a book in your hands. We need to keep it like this to make things easier for us here. This is if it's in English, and here if it's in Arabic. Of course, we'll choose Arabic. Here, if you want to add for printing purposes, so that when you reach the finishing stage in printing, the white color doesn't show. So we add more of our background color on top so that it comes out 100%. After we've set up our document settings here, or the new document, we said it should be A4, and it needs to be 2 pages side by side, opening from right to left. Because it's in Arabic, we select Create, we select it. Great! This is the beginning, the interface of Adobe InDesign. The program is smooth, wonderful, and beautiful. Everyone loves working with it because of its speed, smoothness, and ease of use. Now, let's get to know the program. Here you have the tools, which are similar to Illustrator and Photoshop. Here, the most important thing in InDesign is the Pages panel, and soon we'll learn how to work with pages and images. We'll also see how to link images to the program from Photoshop and many other things. Now, as you can see, I zoomed out just a bit to get a better view. The shortcut for that is Command-. So you see the pages open up like this in front of you. Now, let's see how we're going to work here and what steps will follow. It opens up to the first page, which is page 1. Then it starts with pages 2 and 3. This is what I was talking about. You'll find 2 and 3 next to each other, then 4 and 5, 6 and 7, so it's even odd or odd even pages. Now, how do I start with the first step, and how do I view the layout of my brochure or my pages? There's something called the A master, which is 2 pages side by side at the top. I clicked on them here from the top. What are these? They're the master pages. Anything you apply to the master will be applied to 8 pages, or 40 pages, or even 1,000 pages. This is one of the best features in InDesign. In. It's about how easy the program is to use and work with. You have a master page. Anything you apply to this master will show up on all the pages. Let's see how we work now. I am certified with this lesson. To make things easier, faster, and simpler, I'm using a ready-made template from Illustrator. I brought it in from Illustrator. Of course, there are many international websites that give you things legally and for free. One of these sites is the well-known site Freepik. In the description of this video here, check out the site. There are a lot of really great things on it. Now to place it, I need to use the place command, which is Command plus D on Mac or Control plus D on Windows. So I click on place and bring in the template that I've prepared. You can also check the Show Import options if you want to see what options are available, like if it's a PDF with multiple pages and so on. Here, leave it on bounding box. So now you just give it the command. Here we go. Perfect. We've brought in the one I want to work on or apply to the design. You can also rotate it like this if you want. And place it here like this. Of course, keep in mind that I'm working on the master. I'm working with the master in InDesign. You can use this scaling tool, which is called Free Transform. Just hold Shift and drag, just like in Photoshop or Illustrator, and resize it from here. Then I move on so I can reflect it. I worked on the even page, so to reflect it onto the odd page, I select it. I go up here to flip horizontal or flip vertical, depending on what's required or what you think works better, so I click on this here. Now it will look like this in the layout. So this is how you set up the page layout. Once again, I go to the Align option in InDesign to center it on the page. Here's the Align tool right here. I do it like this, and from the top to bring it up, alright, now it's positioned up here. Now, if you want, depending on your design, you can also move it down like this. You can do it like this and see how it looks. But I think there's no need to keep it only at the top. It really depends on your design. Now, there's something here. Before we move on to the pages or start working, you can do that for the Free Transform tool. The reason I'm adding here is because of the bleed, which is related to the cutting process and printing during the final finishing stages. So that when it's cut, you don't end up with any white showing on the pages or the white color of the paper appearing on the edges of the pages. Printing, okay. Now I have worked on the master. Let's see how it's applied to all the pages. This is the first page. Of course, an important thing in brochures is that the first and last pages are always the cover. That's the cover of the brochure, so you might want to exclude it. But for now, in this tutorial about the program or this brochure, let's just keep working as usual. Since it's 8 regular pages, just like a magazine or a book. Now you'll see that it's been applied. I'm pressing the W key to see how it looks. This is what happens when you press W. This is the first step in setting up the template in InDesign. Now maybe someone will say, I want to add page numbers to the brochure. Of course, I've already explained how to add page numbers in InDesign, but now I'd like to explain it one more time. You just open a regular text box from here and place it like this at the bottom. Usually, brochures don't always have page numbers, but let's go ahead and explain it anyway. Then you come over here to the vertical section and press Command plus Shift plus Alt plus N, or Control plus Shift plus Alt plus N, depending on whether you're using Windows or Mac. The letter N is now. Now the number is centered. I did that from the paragraph panel. You can make it bigger if you want, or you can. Here, I'm working on page number 1, or on the odd-numbered page in the master. Of course, everything we do on the master will show up with the letter R. I go to the character panel and set the number to English so that it stays that way, because by default our numbers are in Arabic numerals. Here the size is 22. If you think it looks too big or too small, that's up to you. You can adjust it during finishing or printing. Now, to move the numbers from the odd page to the even page, what do? I select the black selection tool, and then with Alt, I select here like this, and then I select. That's the method. Then I go back to Align and center it. Now you'll see that all the pages are numbered like this. This is page number 1. I clicked, and of course, this is page 2. This is page 3. Of course, if you want on the master page, you can put the number inside a box, a circle, or any specific shape. It's totally fine. You can also apply it to the master page like this. And for example, if you make a box like this on the master, it will appear on all the pages. So that's the second stage, which is numbering. We started from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now the next stage is that I want to establish, like, the subject of the book or the topic. The topic of the magazine is that I want to set up a text box, meaning the actual text itself, in InDesign. How do I do that on the pages? There are two ways. Now look, in a brochure, the situation might not be like a book, where you're always bound by the book's format, or you might want to set up the book so that the text flows or follows a certain sequence across all the pages. Maybe you don't. It's common in brochures for a page to have just an image or something like that. But we want to explain the method, and you can do it on the master page. And if you have only a few pages, you can just take the text box and link it manually. Let's work on it using the master page this way. We open a regular text box using this tool. And I do it like this in this way, so that I'm working on the odd number page, but you can do it here as well. Of course, I held down Shift and Alt to get it just right. Now you'll see it on all the pages. Now there's something else. You can see here that, let's say, there are some things outside, and I can't, for example. Here I can't do it because I went outside the master. Now I've moved to the regular pages. I can't grab this text box, so what do? I press Shift and Command or Shift and Control on Windows devices and click, and you'll see the page is unlocked. The page is unlocked, and there might be another way too. You can select the page from here. This is to unlock the master, and then go to this option. That way, you've unlocked everything on this page. But I prefer, so you keep this fixed and keep the number fixed. He is with Command and Shift. By the way, not everyone knows about this method. This shortcut is actually really great. I mean, it's not. You won't find it directly in the InDesign menu, so we press Command plus Shift plus Alt and you'll see it. You'll notice that you've broken the link, or you've made it so you can control it. And that way, you can do it on all the pages easily. That's how it is. So, it's Command plus Shift with a click. Of course, with a click here, with a click here, with a click here. I'll delete this one because it's sticking out and I don't want it. I'll go back to page number 1. And now, with the text tool, I'll do this, okay? Then I'll go and get, let's say, the text from Word in this easy way, which is, I'll select it first. I've prepared the text, of course, about Palestine, and then I go back to InDesign and paste it. I use Command plus V, or you can do it from the top menu. From here, you can paste from the Edit menu. Alright, now you'll notice that it's closed off here and didn't flow to the other pages. So what do? Now you'll see that it's closed here or locked on this one. So what do? You click on the text box here, and you click on the number or the icon that appears in red. This little pink square, you click on it like this, and it will show up like this. Then you go down to the pages, and as soon as you move over it, it gives you something like a link icon or a chain. Let's call it a chain. So you click on it here, and you'll find it here, and it will apply to all the pages. You come back here and do this. And also here, this method on the red color, you make a connection. Also here on the red color, you make a connection perfectly. Also, you go to the red color you have here, you make a connection. And again, here on the red. Also here on the red color, you make a link. You'll find it like this. Now the text is spread over 8 pages. Of course, you can change the type. You can do whatever you want with it. Yeah, let's change it to, what do you guys prefer? For example, the font type could be. I mean, Giza is usually preferred for books and magazines. But for a brochure, you might want a nicer font style. You can choose it like this, or in this way, like this. Now the text is present on all the pages. You can go back and control the numbers and change them according to what you need now. How do I add an image to a brochure, or add another element or object from Illustrator or Photoshop? Let's choose, for example, page number 3 and move the box up like this, so we have space for the image. For example, the nice thing about linking the boxes is that when you move one up, the text automatically flows and adjusts itself. Nothing happened, it just moved to the next page. That's why it's always better to link the text together, so you can have full control over it across all the pages. Change the color. Change the font size. Change the line spacing. Of course, we're explaining things in a simple way. I'm not explaining how to make things look beautiful or how to make your design look nice. I'm just explaining the correct way to set up your brochure in InDesign, and the rest is up to you, your work, and your taste. Always use sites like Free Peek when it comes to being yourself. Finding resources, so you can achieve the nice look you want in your design process. Because it gives you images and, let's say, vectors that look really nice. Now, how do we bring an image into InDesign? Again, go to File, then Place, and here, wherever I have an image. Let me pick this one, for example. I'll choose this image of mine, just so we can avoid any issues with image rights and that sort of thing. Here's my image. I also resize it using this tool in InDesign, and again, I hold down Shift while doing it. You'll see it gets smaller. I selected this tool here to create a kind of mask for it. The nice thing about InDesign is that it gives you a ready-made mask. So let's say this is a brochure. This method also works for a book, a magazine, or many other things. Like I said, I wanted to keep it simple and just show you how to open pages, set them up, and get started with templates. I'm sure you found the master pages useful, how you can put something on the master and have it apply to all the pages, and so on. So that was just a simple explanation. Now I want to get into the topic that's actually in the video title, which is how to export for print or export for the web. For example, you might have a 100-page book that you want to upload to a website, no problem. You can do that in InDesign, export it as a PDF, and it works. Exporting for print is actually very simple in InDesign. There's no need to send images. There's no need to send the InDesign file itself. All that stuff is old news. We now use the method recommended by Adobe. It's a smooth process, and it's an easy process. You just go to File, then Export. That's it, and you save it as a PDF for print. When you click Save, you choose either high quality print or press quality. This is for printing purposes. So, for example, let's stick with press quality here. The only thing you need to do is add the bleed we talked about at the beginning of the video, which is 1/4 of a centimeter. Here, you add that extra space, so it comes out right for printing, and that's it. Then you export it. Now, let's talk about how to export the brochure or book for the internet or for a website. Again, it's the same thing when you export. You choose PDF, or you can use PDF Interactive, which is faster. But you stay here with this talk. You'll find an option here called Smallest File Size. You can also set it to spreads, so the pages appear side by side, which is just for the website, nothing else. Smallest size means that instead of your file ending up really large, like 60 or 70 megabytes, Here it will only be about 1 or 2 megabytes, then you just hit export. That was the explanation for how to export the file or export the brochure for printing or for the website or internet. And with that, we've reached the end of today's video explaining how to design a brochure using InDesign. Thank you all for watching.